So, notes packet we need out, calculator, pencil. Okay. If you haven't got time to get the calculator yet, you can always use your Chromebook yet, or you can just wait for us to figure out what these are. Okay? Okay? Let's do this. Let's start by a little rehash from yesterday. So yesterday we talked a lot about rounding. And what we're going to do today is we're going to take, as you can, you've got eyes, you can look down the paper. We're going to take different things and we're going to put them on the number line. Kind of like what we were doing in the purple unit. We put integers on the number line. Today we're going to put irrational numbers on our number line. Okay? So, but before we get into that rehash of tomorrow, rehash of yesterday's topics, okay? When we're rounding, because the first couple of warm-ups are rounding questions. Okay? So first thing we got to do in rounding is we got to decide which place value we're going to round to, and then we look to the next one, right? So we decide which is the last digit to keep, and then we look to the next right digit. Yesterday, remember I told you to put an arrow on the one that you're going on, like put an arrow on top for the one that you're rounding to. Put an arrow on the bottom to the one that you got to look at. Okay? Then, stay the same numbers. What are the 5 stay the same numbers? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Quote, rounding down. We stay the same. Okay? What are the 5 go up numbers? That's 4 of them. And 9. Yep. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yep. Got to have that 9 in there too. Okay. All right. With that being said, with that rehash happening, let's round those 4 numbers to the specific place value that is afterward. So number 1, we're rounding to the tenths. Number 2, we're rounding to the hundredths. Number 3, rounding, that shouldn't be tenths. That should be tenths. Let's change. Let's make a change here. Let's round this one to the tens. Okay? Round that one to the tens, not the tenths. Round it to the tens. Okay? And number 4 to the whole numbers. So if I'm rounding to the tenths, that means that I'm rounding to that one, which means I look at that one. Is that stay the same or bump up? That's a bump up. So this would bump up to be 147.7. Hundredths. Do I have to do any rounding with the hundredths on this one? No. Why not? Because there's no other number. So it's already rounded to the hundredths. Tens. Tens is, the tens digit is this one, which means I look back at this one. Round up, stay the same. Round up, so that's going to go up to 20. whole number is that unit 1, which is right here, or the ones. Look back. Is that a round up or stay the same? Round up, so then that would round up to be just 1. Thumbs up on all 4 of those? Yeah. Tricky one, number 2. All right. Do it. Okay, so now we want to put these numbers on the number line. Well, before we can put those numbers on the number line, we got to figure out what they are. Like, you know what I mean? The square root of 17 is kind of like, I don't know where that is, right? Okay? So we type it in on our calculator or in our Chromebook, okay? And we get the square root of 17. Now, yours is that. Can I fix it? Okay. No. Yep. So then square root 17 equals. Okay. So when you do that, you should get the square root of 17 is 4.1231-ish. You probably have more decimal places after that, right? What was that? That's fine, but that's the square root of 17. So, yeah. Okay? All right? So, what's the square root of 28? $5.2915-ish? Somebody other than Jesse. What's the square root of 49? 7, right? Just straight up 7. What's the square root of 7? Somebody other than Jesse. What do you got? 2.6457? Let's see. 2.6457. Good job. Okay? Now, we need to put those letters on the number line for us. We're going to put those letters on the number line because we know what their approximate values are. Me, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? All right, so I'm going to add that 5 in there. So 4.123 would come somewhere in between 4 and 5, right? Would it be closer to 4 or closer to 5? Closer to 4, right? Everybody agree with that? Okay. So we're going to put our A, our dot for A, nice and close to 4. That's how that works. Okay. B is 5.2915. Well, that's going to be in between 5 and 6. Other than Jesse, closer to 5 or closer to 6? Closer to 5. Yep. C was exact. It was 7. So that one we can put right smack dab on 7. Okay. D, we got 3 there, we got 2 there. Well, I was filling 1 there, then 2. In between 2 and 3, closer to 2, closer to 3. Closer to 3, right? But almost like right in the middle, almost, right? Because 2.5 would be right in the middle. So we're not all the way over by 3. We're kind of in that middle-ish, but yet still closer to 3 range. With me on that? Okay. So So the first thing you got to do is you got to find those square roots. So find those values, what they are, until you get better at them, and then you figure, oh, this one's going to be, like the square root of 8. Okay? For me, because I've been doing this a many moons I've been doing this. Okay, so for me, I don't think of the square root of 8 as the square root of 8. I know it's in between 2 and 3, and I know it's really close to 3 because the square root of 9 is. Okay, when you find those perfect squares, okay, you get that. All right. So let's try this one. Those of you with calculators, find me these numbers. Those of you without calculators, would you like to borrow one? Because I want you to get working with the calculators and figure out how to use these, because on next week, Friday, when we've got a formative, you're going to need to do this kind of stuff on that formative. All right? All right? Hold on, okay, let me push pause up here. So, should have gotten values that look like this for it. Okay? So, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14.413 should be right there. 7.28 should be right there. 4.8989 should be right there, and 15 should be right there. Agree with that? Yeah. Placing those then on the number line. Kicker is gotta find them first. Okay? Yeah. So then, backside of that note page now. Now let's talk about what a fraction truly is. Okay? A fraction is truly, a number that stands for a part of a whole. So a fraction is a number that tells you the part of the whole. Okay? A fraction, so it's a number that tells you the part of the whole, has two parts to it. It's got a top and it's got a bottom. Okay? So the denominator of a fraction is the bottom of that fraction. It's the downstairs of the fraction. That tells us how many equal pieces an object is cut into. So that's the total number of parts, is another way of saying it. Total number of parts. So if I'm looking at these two examples that we have there, what are the total number of parts here in this first one? Jesse? No, total number of parts. 4. That was the only part of the question. Stay with me. Okay? Don't get too far ahead. Gotta stay with me. Total number of parts, because there's 4 parts here, right? And over here, there's 4 circles, so the total number of parts is 4. So the denominator, the bottom part of our fraction, if we're doing those two, is 4. Okay? So our fraction in both of these would look like something over 4. Actually, here, I'll put this right inside of open. Okay? So the bottom part of your fraction is the total number of parts. Okay? The numerator of our fraction is the top part okay? And that's the parts that are shaded. Okay? Or the part that you have that you are including in your fraction. So in this case, and I know the shading didn't come through on your note sheet, but so the top part here, the shaded part would be 1, 2, 3. So this would be 3/4. Or shaded part 1, 2, 3, this one would also be 3/4. Okay? So the bottom tells you how many total pieces, the top tells you how many pieces you actually have. Okay? Let's put it to work. Okay? So what is the fraction for this shaded area? So first off, how many total pieces do we have in number 7? Somebody other than Jesse, how many total pieces? We have 5 total pieces. So our fraction is going to be over 5. Of those 5 total pieces, how many are shaded? 3, right? Yep, 3 are shaded, right? We have 3, yep, 3 shaded. So our fraction there is 3/5. Okay? Shaded parts over total parts. It's being fractions. In number 8, how many total pieces do we have? We have 8 total pieces. How many of them are shaded? 5. So it's 5/8. In number 9, how many total pieces do we have? How many are shaded? 2. So it would be 2 7s. With me? Love it. Okay. Number 10. How many shaded pieces? How many total pieces? So that's 3/6. We're not there yet. Okay. Number 11. Shaded pieces? 2. Total pieces? 4. No. 2/4. Yep. 4/4 would be the whole thing would be shaded, right? Which could happen. Right? We could ask for the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. Number 12. How many total pieces? 9 total pieces. How many shaded? 4. So 4 9s. Okay. Now, when we get more proficient with fractions, okay, meaning Monday, we'll take these 2 here in number 10 and 11, and we'll do what's called reducing them. That's what Jesse was alluding to earlier when he said 1/2 was the answer, which is true, but we're not quite there yet. Okay? We'll get there on Monday. Okay? So, what I would like now in these next ones is you get to do a little coloring. So we want you to shade in the fraction that's that's there. So if it's 2/3, that means we have 3 total pieces, which is correct. I want 2 of them shaded. And I am going to shade with my creative pen. And I am going to shade, oh yeah, I like that one. So I would shade in 2. Of those. Does it matter which 2 you do? No, it doesn't matter which 2 you do. 4/5, 3/4, shade, 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 shade. 5/7, 3/8, and 5/6. So shade me those 5, and then I'll show you those. Okay. Fifths. Oh, let's do something different here. 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/7. Now, could have I also done this with 5/7? Oops, yes I can. Could have I also done 3, 4, 5? Could have I done that? Yeah, right? Because it's still 5 shaded ones, right? Then they don't have to be in a big block, and they can be anywhere. So we could have either one of those. Okay? 3/8, let's go. Flowers. This is the new one. With me? Okay. So now, tonight, we've got the B2 homework that I'm about to hand out to you. Still getting some purples turned in, and that's great. We still need, if you've got purples to fix, if you've got formatives to fix yet from last unit, let's get out everything. I want you guys to be as good as you can be. If you're a migrating student, I've got all of your I graded your tests last night, and so those tests are in the grade book. Don't have enough time today to hand them out. We'll hand them out later. And yeah, if you haven't turned in the B1 homework yet, make sure you get that turned in too.